Top of morning, ladies. Welcome to the custom card review. So, in this custom card review, I am going to go over the updated version of the Chef of the Futures archetype. Yeah. So, in this archetype, there is, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 monsters, 2 spells, or no, I meant 2 traps, and 3 spells. So let's go over the monsters first. So we got the Harry. It's supposed to be cherry, like in cherries. The fish or catfish chef of the future. Water, level 4, 0 attack, 0 defense. Once he's flipped, you can select 1 monster on the field, except this card, and then the selected monster loses 1,500 attack points for each level this card has. So basically, if you do a math, it's 5, 10, 15, 20, and then plus an extra. So like if you do math calculations, it's gone down well pretty lot. So this card cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. This card is unaffected by card effects. And if this card you can only use its effects for once per turn. You take no damage evolving this card, and if this card is sent to the grave or banished home, you can shuffle this card into your deck, special summon 1 Chef of the Future monster from anywhere except this card to your field in the attack mode. So we got that one. That's basically it drains your opponent's monster's attack. Then we got Goblin, that if he's summoned, then, or like if you control like another one other than himself, you can summon himself or special summon him, and basically your hand or deck basically brings him out easy. And if he's special summoned this way, you can select 1 monster on the field except this card. The selected monster loses 2 stars, basically levels, it's supposed to say, from it, and this card gains 2 levels. So basically, so it could be from 1, 2, 3, 4, to level 9, basically, and until the end of this turn. So, and this card can attack your opponent's life points, and if this card is sent to the grave, you can, or banish on quick effect, you can shovel this card and 1 other Chef of the Future into your deck. You gain life points equal to combined attack and defense of this card. You take no damage or no battle damage from evolving this card. This card's effects can only be activated once per turn. So basically, if you have this card and this card out, or if you have this one out and this one, you can. Yeah, so then we got the helper that basically, if she's normal summon, you can add 1 spell or trap card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Also, if this card was special summoned by the effects of the Chef of the Future monster, you can pay 1,000 life points, draw 4 cards from the top of your deck to your hand. And if this card is sent to the grave or Banner Zone. Quick effect, you can shuffle this card into your deck. Then you can activate one card's effects from anywhere except this card to your field directly. And then you gain 2,000 life points. So basically, if you had when it means anywhere, so you can activate it from your graveyard to be like, oh, I activate Pot of Greed. Now I draw two new cards. But if she was normal summon, you can add one spell or trap card, and yeah. So she's basically like, if she's normal summon, like brings out normally, like basically like, I'm gonna get you summon master that I will make sure make sure it's useful. And then if she's brought out special summoned, you can pay 1,000 life points, draw 4 cards, basically. Yeah. So then we got Crab, or Mr. Krabs, should I say, the lobster chef of the future. Water level 4, Beast Warrior. Effect monster where, yeah, if it has a similar effect to hers, but this one, like, and also if this card is special summoned, you can select one monster from your deck, special summon that selected monster to your field in attack mode. So if she would, or if he was brought out normally, he would have added one card. Mentions it. So then, like say if you use Monster Reborn to bring him back, then you can bring that back. Because in my personal story that I always like tell myself that where the young chef girl used to be a ordinary girl. She had a, not a rude boss, she had a kindest boss in the world. And yeah, it's going to be a long story, but so you can only use this effect for once per turn, and you take no damage. So basically, yeah. So then that wraps up the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 normal monsters. Synchro monster is from, I basically grab whatever is a chef card, or chef, like their respectable fields thing. So I added Bonnie from Five Nights at Freddy's. So basically, Bonnie, the robotical chef of the future. He's a Earth level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Level 8 monster. So basically, 1, 2, 3, 4. With the chef basically makes that. Yeah. And it has generic so basically the 1 tuner monster plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters. And if this card has to be synchro summon, or must be synchro summon. And if this card is special summon, you can toss a coin and activate one of these following effects. Heads, both players add 2 spells/trap cards from their deck to their hand. Tails, both players must select one monster from their graveyard earn or their field to be shuffled into their deck. And if this card inflicts damage, so the way that he is basically inflicting damage is basically, instead of doing like life points, once you hit, or when he hits your opponent, it basically mills 2 cards from their deck instead. Basically, like say if your opponent was playing Exodia deck, and yeah, I know that it's not good for the modern playstyle, but yeah. So now we got onto the 2 traps, or 3 spells, sorry. So we got Krabby Spice of the Future. Basically is a blue crab inside of a spice card. And if this card is activated, you can select 3 cards, or 3 of its own archetype, 1 from your deck or graveyard, except this card, add it to your hand. Or supposed to be add them to your hand. So, yeah. And if you do, then you gain 2,000 life points, and you can only use this effect for once per turn. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle this card into the deck and inflict damage. So you put the, I don't know what the crab thing, like crab spicy do, but yeah. So then we got the Goofy Chef of the Future, where on field effect is basically during each of your opponent's standby phases, quick effect, you can select 1 card, earn on their field, shuffle that selected card. So basically it means your opponent's cards earns to, it will be in the deck. And if you do, then both players draw cards from their deck to their hand until they have 8 cards in their hand, basically. And if this card is in your graveyard, this is a graveyard effect, basically. You can shuffle this card into the deck, set 1 Chef of the Future monster from anywhere to your field in face down defense mode. So basically you bring out like the monster earlier, this one, and face down. So basically, yeah. So then we got the Chef's Knife of the Future. Is basically a equipped spell where it has to be equipped to a Chef of the Future monster. And the monster is basically gains attack, and the monster also gains this effect for once per turn. This card can attack your opponent's life points directly. But if it does, then the damage is half. Basically, if, yeah, until the end of your next turn. And if an effect monster gets, or it's supposed to be a equipped monster, but it says effect monster, but it gets sent to the graveyard. But I probably already changed it before, but I don't remember. This is the old one. So, yeah. To the graveyard or banner zone. by your opponent, you can shuffle this card into the deck instead. So basically, you get rid of your knife to save your life. So basically, yeah. So, then that's for the spell cards. So the 2 trap cards, sorry I'm going really fast because, yeah. So, this card is, if you have 1 or more monsters, or like, this card can only be activated if you have 1 or more monsters on the field. You can select 2 cards from your opponent's deck to be sent to the graveyard. So basically it makes all of your horror monsters attack your opponent's life points directly. And if you do, then the damage is double. So basically, you can attack into your opponents, and plus, then if you do, then yeah, so until the end of your next turn. And if your opponent activates a card effect that adds cards or card effects to their hand except by draw phase, while this card is in your graveyard or battle zone, quick effect, you can shovel this card into the deck, negate that card effect, and then banish it to the battle zone. And if you do, then both players draw 3 cards from the top of their deck to their hand. So basically, you can, if you have a monsters on the field, you can activate this card and they all attack your opponent's life points. So then we got Raging Chef of the Future. Basically, if your opponent activates a card effect, you control a monster, negate that card effect, and if you do, then it gets shuffled into the deck. And then you draw 2 cards from the top of your deck to your hand. And if your monster is sent to the grave by a card effect while this card is in your graveyard or battle zone, you can shuffle this card into the deck instead of them. And you gain life points equal to your monster's combined attack points. So basically you gain life points and you also not losing the duel. Because if you have a monster like her or her boss or them, you can basically summon, because this one can also summon 1 monster, shovel this card into the deck and special summon 1. So basically, if you special summon him, you can also special summon her. And yeah, and then you can go into crazy combos. Bring out him and use trap cards like this one, because it needs 1, not 2 or 3, just 1. Yeah, so each one of these modeled after chefs. So basically, the cherry is basically not cherry, like in cherry bomb. The catfish is basically modeled after a catfish. That's why it's a fish type. Goblin type goblin chef is basically a goblin with a special things. Helper allows this little bit of plays to adding cards to your hand real quick. And then you can bring out him and use hers. Yeah. With all this weird combos, it's just like you can. And I don't know why the Peaceful Lord, Reality Lord, is here, because I just threw him in. So, yeah. And plus, let's go over it real quick. So, it's basically a floodgate for, like, card effects. Like, if this card or if a card is targeted by card effects, you can special summon this card, change it to basically that card. So basically, if you had a Twin Twister and one of the targets was your Mirror Force or your monster, or like one, you can activate this card, actually, let's say mystical something, that trap card where it, or like one of the that could target. You can activate his effect, summons him, and then, yeah. So I don't know why he's in here, because he's supposed to be in the Peaceful Lord's archetype. So, peace out, y'all. And, yeah, because Peaceful Lords and Chefs don't mix together. So, peace.